What's up, Guardians, and welcome back to another Destiny gameplay video. In this video, as we gear up for Trials, I just wanted to drop a few of my basic tips and reminders as you go into Trials of Osiris for this weekend. And in the background, you're going to be seeing some gameplay from a Mark of the Unbroken match of elimination I had against some decently skilled guys, guys that had beaten me in a previous match. So first and foremost, as you gear up for Trials, you're probably trying to get the highest light level you possibly can. But let me just give a little bit of a warning in doing that. The recommended light level for Trials this time around is 290. So that means that they're saying that at light level 290, you will be able to definitely hold your own. You'll be a contender. And so that being said, I know that probably a lot of us have enough gear that's high enough level to get us up into the low 300s. But as you do that, I would caution you against sacrificing weapons that you are really accustomed to using in favor of ones that you're not really used to using, but they have higher light level. Like if you had a Smite of Moraine that was 310 or whatever, that's great and all, but I would recommend sacrificing some light level, going down a little bit, and using something that you've been using pretty consistently, something that you're more comfortable with, that you have a relationship with, something that you'll move more fluidly with. And in the same manner, when we're talking about your armor, also you may want to make some sacrifices to light level for some armor that's going to have some better benefits to you. For example, keep in mind what kind of special weapon you're going to be using in the Trials of Osiris. If you have some gloves, they're a little bit lower light level, but they actually buff the reload speeds for your preferred special weapon, then go with those instead. And also on the boots, since in Trials, special ammo, is sometimes hard to come by depending on the length of the rounds, make sure that you are using boots that give you increased ammo capacity for the special weapon of your choice, and that will make it so that when you pick up special ammo, you'll pick up more bullets at a time. And so keep that in mind as well too. So all in all, what I'm saying is make sure that your gear is very intentionally picked, and light level should be a secondary factor in my opinion. You're going to be much more lethal with a setup that makes sense, that works in terms of your the actual way that your combat plays out and the way that the matches play out, as opposed to gear that's just going to give you a higher light level that may potentially give you 1 or 2 or 3 more damage per shot. Also, when the map for Trials this weekend is released, I recommend that you take a moment just to think about the map, think about the layout, think about your approach, and also one of the most important things when thinking about a map and how you're going to approach your engagements is to keep in mind the various choke points and bottlenecks. And one thing that you're going to want to be mindful of that's super easy to forget when you're not used to playing Trials consistently, like all of us anymore, because it's been gone for quite a while. But one of the things you got to keep in mind is when you're walking into places, walking into hallways, walking into bottlenecks, even if you don't see anyone on the radar, slide. Either slide or jump, or if you have shade step through those doorways, shade step through those hallways. You don't just want to round corners when enemies are out and about and on the prowl. Even if you don't see anyone on the radar, someone could have their sights on a sniper rifle trained right at head level, and in fact that's often the case in Trials. A lot of times you get snipers who just hard scope bottlenecks and wait for someone to show up. They may be crouching far enough back that you're not going to see them on the radar. So that's one major tip. And you see here in the gameplay use of a super. And super timing is hugely crucial when it comes to Trials of Osiris. You definitely want to coordinate with your teammates. This was a match of elimination with randos, so I didn't tell them, hey, I'm going to go super heavy. But if you're going to push, it's usually best if you push together, or you at least communicate to your teammates, hey, I've got a super, I'm gonna roll the dice here and go push their heavy. Because heavy is such a wild card round. Usually I don't recommend using a super on the heavy round, but you can kind of gauge how the match is going so far if you really need that win or not. Usually it's best to use your super sooner than later if you're a player that gets a decent amount of kills, because you may actually get a second super in the game. But for most people, they're only going to get 1 super in the match, and if that's you, then really be strategic and specific about when you use that. Really weigh the risk and reward. If you're going 1v3 or last man standing and you're up by 3 or 4 rounds at that point, I wouldn't recommend using your super because you could screw it up. and basically lose your super going 1v3 trying to make a clutch play happen. So just kind of gauge how the match is going. Do you really need it? Weigh the risk and reward, and go from there. All in all, communication is going to be a huge factor. I'm assuming, I could be wrong, but I'm guessing, but as we go into trials this weekend, that it's going to be on a map that we haven't played trials on before. So those players who have played elimination on the new maps may have a bit of an advantage when it comes to trials this weekend. But so communication is definitely going to be a big factor. So make sure that you're talking with your teammates. Make call-outs. It's really easy just to get into a zone and train your sights and just kind of do what you do without talking. But talking more is always better in these competitive situations. And you know that if you ever watch any competitive streams, you hear people talking all the time, making call-outs. And that's how they end up being so successful, is because they can team fire and flank and do all those maneuvers, and it all just boils down to talking to each other. So hopefully this has just been a helpful bit of reminders as you go into trials, and can't wait to get in there myself. Make sure you stop by the stream at launch time on Twitch. You can see me and KJ Hovey and Manigator going into trials, and I'm sure we're going to be having a good time. So hopefully we'll catch you in the Crucible, guys.